Let's hop into our next match here. Spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Post Youth, we have our blue Protoss player. He is NightMare. Just took down Nice in a little bit of a PvP, but now he has to contend one of the best Terrans in the world. In the lower left, it is Shopify Rebellion's Byun. Everybody loves Byun. One of, I dare say, the most popular StarCraft 2 players. He's been around a while. World champion of 2016. Streamed for quite a while, too. Very, very personable streamer. See NightMare checking around for some proxies here. No, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like because I haven't been around in a few weeks. Is there any new meta going on with these guys? I feel like at this point in StarCraft, the meta is not going to shift particularly drastically unless there's a big patch. There usually aren't. But sometimes the meta between like two players or like specifically Beyond's TVP can change. And I don't know. It's worth keeping an eye out. I don't expect too much different here. I will say it's kind of interesting to see this matchup on Post Youth. I feel like I don't see a lot of TVPs on this map. So, interested in how it shapes up. Both players just going to go ahead and take their bases here. This probe, because it spent so long moving around NightMare's side of the map, it's actually just going to die to the Reaper, but at least it gets the confirmed scout on the base going up in the meantime. You know what would be really interesting here? On this map in particular, would be to cancel this base that's building. It's not something that would normally be very good, but I feel like on this map you could almost get away with it because the chances of a follow-up scout are so low once any units are out. Now this is annoying. Byun timed that out. He waited for the probe to get queued over here from the base. As we see, NightMare is just sending them over. He knew the timing of the first probe getting there, and he just snuck around. The Adept wasn't in position, and NightMare takes a probe loss to start things off. And the Reaper's going to come in and scout the Twilight Council as well. So, shockingly, a good Reaper here for Byun. And a fast third CC. And that's kind of just expected on this map. I mean, when you get the base in your base, it makes you feel like you can just take another base. The 3 and even the 4 base setup on this map is quite nice. And I feel like Byun usually goes pretty heavy macro on this map, at least when I've cast him. We saw quite a fun standstill. What was it? No, it was a draw. It's like a super late game draw between him and Dark, where they just both realized, I can't attack into the other person. They can't attack into me. Whoever attacks will lose. So neither of us are going to do it. So let's just draw. The map was completely mined out. Ah, what a cool game. I have very fond memories of that finals. It was, of course, the KSL finals, where all the best games happen. All the real magic is at the KSL. Ooh, Blink finishing up here, and that is going to be a dead Reaper. Byun a little late on pulling that back, maybe for the first time ever. And NightMare takes advantage of it, kills the Reaper. And NightMare's going to put down his own third base. Of course, Byun's third CC is done quite a bit sooner, but he's not going to put it down for a little bit yet, it looks like. And just keep building some workers here in his main. Might be waiting for the real power moments here if he gets a couple of medevacs out and stim. Suddenly, some Blink Stalkers from NightMare don't seem so scary. Really interesting that NightMare is staying home, though. And, I mean, he does have some vision over here with the Adept. The Observer going to dive in now. He's got to be real careful. Byun is so good at seeing these. And there he goes. But the third CC has been spotted. So now NightMare knows that Byun was just going macro this whole time. This isn't some cheeky, like, 2-base all-in that he's trying to hide. So the Stalkers will come out of the base now. Gonna head over here and try to poke at some of these units. Stim is done. Byun, of course, doesn't really want to stim at this juncture. He doesn't have medevacs out yet, but he could. He could go for a cheeky stim. Oh, he spots that. I was gonna say there's only 2 Marines, but then the reinforcements from the main come down. And NightMare does have to be careful. God, it's another Observer already. Can Byun spot this one too? Oh, I think he saw it. I think he saw it. How did he see it? That's insane. It went just on the edge of his vision. Just came in here and sieged up. He just spots it. Stalkers on the top of the ramp. Pick off a couple more Marines. But Byun is coming across the map. NightMare does not have a lot back at home. He was trying to head towards Colossi and charge. And he warped in some sentries. That's maybe a little bit greedy going for all that tech. So you see Byun stay pretty low tech here, just barely getting the medevacs out now. He's got a lot of bio. Looks like the shield batteries, though, for NightMare are going to be enough to buy time for that Colossus to come out. He's going to be the real heavy hitter here. Now, that being said, there's still like 9 Marauders. A couple do get trimmed off, though. Beautiful force field. Super shield battery turned on to keep these units nice and healed up. And Byun is going to just run away. Charge is done as well. Looked a little scary there for NightMare, but he gets everything done on time. Holds on. Byun, though, his +1 is done. His +1 armor is almost finished up here. Both players' third bases are up and running off to the races. And Byun is just going to continue reinforcing. He's got 5 barracks. Even got some Widow Mines coming out for those charge lots. And his army supply is staying pretty high up there. We're seeing that they're at the same worker count, which is not usually good for the Protoss. One of the shield batteries gets taken out. A couple of beautiful force fields here. Going to allow this Colossus to do a lot of damage, but a nice hot pickup from Byun. Splits off some of those units. The Colossus just not getting the splash damage it needed done there, but it will stay alive. Ooh, Widow Mine's going to go off here. Stalkers do not avoid that. And now the Colossus gets jumped on the super shield battery is too late. And these Stalkers, I don't know if there's enough left. The probes are getting pulled, but Byun focused down those Stalkers. And now he's going to kill a lot of these probes. Super shield battery keeping these units alive for a while, but Byun is continuing to reinforce, just bringing everything across. Another Colossus comes down from the main. I think that'll be enough to hold on for now, but nope, Byun dives for it. He says, no, I'm not giving this one up. And GG gets called as that second Colossus goes down. Byun deflected off that first attack. Doesn't go in too deep. Just kind of pokes and prods, but sees that there is potentially an opportunity. Comes in from another angle, taking down one shield battery, and kind of just fighting half of the army, right? I think the Stalkers must have been in the main base. He was able to kill a bunch of Zealots. The one Colossus, it doesn't out DPS the healing of the medevacs by that much. So it was just kind of swiping at like a few Marauders. Maybe it killed a couple Marines, but didn't do nearly as much as NightMare needed it to, and went down shortly after those Stalkers showed up. Just not enough left in the army at that point. Byun gets him with the 3 base, 5 racks. All right, game number 2 is going to be on site. Delta. As it looks like some other matches might have ended. I am waiting to see what the scores of those might be. Try to update everybody, but I do not know. Hello, Wimpy. Thank you for reminding everybody that there is, in fact, a matcherino for this. If you guys would like to give some free dollars to the prize pool to support these players. If you'd also like to support, please consider checking out the Patreon. That is how the KSL is funded. We are a little under our current goal for every other week. Would love to bump that back up so that we can continue the KSL as long as possible. We got to get to number 69. We got to do it. We're 10 away, though. This is number 59. And spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have a NightMare. The blue Protoss, who is a little blue after that last game. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner in the red. The Shopify Rebellion, it's Beyond. It is, in fact, 1-0 for Beyond, yes. Thank you. NightMare, again, scouting out for any proxies. You'll love to see it. Looks like it's a Marine first here to be on. Am I crazy? No, it's just building a Marine. Okay. All right. Beyond changing it up a little bit. No Reaper coming out. NightMare might be a little confused by that. I know I'm feeling a little confused by the lack of a Reaper. This is Beyond after all. You expect that Reaper. With the reactor going down in the factory on the way up here, I'm wondering if it is going to be like quick Hellions or something. I'm not sure what the build is. What's the move here for Beyond? NightMare is going to drop the Robo. Okay, Robo first tech of choice. A single Hellion coming out. All right, I don't know what Beyond's doing. He's getting crazy. Getting crazy. No bunker here either right now for Beyond, so he's just sitting on one Marine, hoping that nothing shows up. I feel like if a Stalker walk across the map right now, Beyond could have been in some trouble. The Adept is going to shade in, and we'll see the units that are here. Hellion just going to run around. It looks like it's going to do the scouting job that the Reaper would have been doing. And then into Cyclones. So are we going to see a Cyclone drop here? Medevac is on the way out as well. This Hellion's going to get hit by a bunch of stuff on the way in. The Adept twice, the Probe, the Stalker. It will finally go down, but it does get this full scout. Sees the Robo, sees the Twilight Council. And the Adept is going to get pushed away by the Stalker. Or the Cyclone, rather. By pushed away, I, of course, mean killed. And it's not a Cyclone drop. It is a Marine drop. I guess that makes a lot of sense. NightMare currently focused on killing the unbuildable rocks here. That means he does not have units in position in the main base, though. Cyclone is considering pressuring the front. It could actually dive up here and get a cheeky lock on to distract a little bit, but it looks like it's not particularly necessary as NightMare is not watching. A bit of a late pull. He's going to lose a couple of probes here. Not too much, though. These Marines do not have stims. They can't stick around too long. He's going to lift up, but he dives into the main base with the Cyclone as well. He wants to get a couple of probes down here. Looks like he'll grab one, but the Immortal coming down actually means the Cyclone, I think, is just dead. Cyclones do not last very long against Immortals. And meanwhile, in the main base, Medevac gets pushed away by the Stalker. 5 probes going down, but that was for a Cyclone. So, I don't know that that was 100% worth it. The resources lost is a little bit in ByuN's favor as he keeps that pressure on. He's got a Banshee coming out now as well. No cloak, but just going to come in and be annoying. See if he can grab some probes when NightMare is not watching. NightMare does have an observer here, but I don't know if he saw the Banshee come out. Ooh, that medevac comes back in. That is such a low medevac. And he's going to drop all these Marines out. Probes getting pulled as the Marines try to group up together. Can he focus down the low probes here? The answer is not quite, actually. So 5 probes do go down. As how we see the scan, ByuN kills another observer. The Banshee comes in as well. There are a few Stalkers here, and remember, there's no cloak. The Banshee just going to get 3 kills, it looks like, and actually that's just going to be a dead Banshee. And NightMare is pushing across the map. This has been a lot of harassment, but does ByuN have enough to defend? Back at home, there are 2 Immortals in this War Prison. There's a bunch of Adepts that all have glaives. Glaives was the research of choice here for NightMare. The Immortal's going to drop down, going to try to get the tanks. They go up to the tank on the high ground. They get it. They take a lot of damage, though, and that means that the bunker stays alive. Now the Immortals can drop on the low ground. They can target fire that bunker. It is getting repaired. Another siege tank comes out. Great force fields to make sure that bunker falls. But with the 2 siege tanks, NightMare has to back up again. ByuN off to a great start with the defense here. Stim is nearly complete, and that will make a world of difference for these Marines, especially with a couple of medevacs out now. 3rd siege tank is on the way. And I feel like ByuN's done a great job holding. NightMare also, he agrees, and he is going to back on up. NightMare does not have a 3rd yet. We're 7 minutes into this game. He's just now putting down that 3rd Nexus. This is feeling like, I would say, a very good position for ByuN, but he does eat a few losses here. So the Adepts come into the main base. 2 Vikings on the way to push away this War Prism. As ByuN is counter-dropping across the map. Now, NightMare's army is back at home, so this double drop shouldn't get too much done. But as I say that, NightMare is leaving his natural. So 3 workers go down. 1 of the gases is going to fall. He's kind of fighting this out right now without Blink. Not as much of a threat to these medevacs, and even though 1 took a lot of damage, there was focus fired, I think, by NightMare's Stalkers. Just gets out anyways. There's only 3 Stalkers and a sentry here. Not much to worry about. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, the 2 Vikings push the War Prism away. The Adepts are forced to drop out and run away. So the pressure is off of ByuN and back onto NightMare as the double medevac drop is going to dive in towards this 3rd base. He's going to grab the Prism. He's going to get a couple of those warping into depth, and he picks up and gets out of there. The low medevac is so low. But there's still no blink. It's almost done, but hey, St. Horseshoes or hand grenades almost doesn't count. Unless it's one of those 2 things. Actually, I guess there are some hand grenades in this game. The Reaper grenade, does that count? I feel like the old Reaper grenade was just a hand grenade. The one that did like bonus damage to buildings. Woo-hoo-hoo. Sentry almost got that medevac, I swear. Oh, the command center was delayed. Oh, I did not see that. Thank you, Porphyrion, for pointing that out. That command center, I guess the SCV working on it had been killed by that drop earlier and had just never been finished. It was with 1 tick away from finishing. ByuN finally does finish it up. I think he realized that when he went to take that 3rd base. Thankfully, it wasn't too far away from finishing. That could have been a huge problem if it was like halfway done. But ByuN is pushing out. He's going to take the 3rd base. NightMare, though, he's got a Colossus out. He's got 2 Disruptors out. The Colossus does not have Thermal Lance, so it's not a great Colossus right now. And there are 5 Siege Tanks here for ByuN. Oh my god, and the disruptors get, I believe they got targeted down by Byun, and GG gets called pretty much immediately as Byun's attack just absolutely clobbers NightMare there. I mean, great defense earlier on from Byun. His harassment was fantastic at the start of the game. Didn't get like a crazy amount done, but just kept that pressure on a NightMare. And then that combined with deflecting NightMare's attack, NightMare's late third. Byun hits a nice timing, and the 5 siege tanks just seal the deal. Byun believable, indeed.